The Roastery is a local coffee company in Kansas City, Missouri. Residents in and around the KC area see it as hometown roots that grow throughout the region and reach the national stage. But this isn't just any coffee. It is local, it's ethically sourced, and air roasted, which are the major components that make the Roastery's story above all else. Let's break this story down chapter by chapter. In chapter 1, we'll talk about the product. I have a story for you. During a study abroad trip in Costa Rica, the Roastery founder, Danny O'Neill, picked his first batch of coffee beans from the region around the Payos volcano, and it was love at first sight. 15 years later, he found himself back home in Kansas City with the dream of starting a coffee company and partnering directly with farmers to get the best coffee beans, willing to pay above market values. He recognized the importance of direct distribution. It went hand in hand with the quality he wanted to sell. He also decided to pioneer an unconventional roasting technique, which is known as air roasting. Different from the traditional drum roasting, air roasting helps unlock the quality within the bean and is cleaner, richer, and smoother. Customers also trust in the Roastery's narrative of high-quality coffee because of the high price point for customers has never affected their bottom line. This goes along perfectly with Godin's quote, "People don't want to change their worldview. They like it, they embrace it, and they want it to be reinforced." The Roastery targeted a market that had a worldview of fresh, ethically sourced coffee, and they ran with it. They didn't try to change anyone's minds, and instead, they encouraged their customers to embrace their worldviews by drinking a coffee brand that lined up with them. We talked in class about how a brand can be built through quality, consistency, persistence, and restraint. The Roastery has built a brand with a foundation of quality, grown through consistency, persisted through collaboration, and with trusted organizations such as Benedictine and Sporting KC, but they only grow in availability, not in product line. Seth Godin says that consumers have the power to turn a small market into a cult, into a movement, and then into a trend, and finally into a market. By partnering with organizations like Benedictine College and Sporting KC, the Roastery is increasing its market by reaching more customers that share the same worldviews that the Roastery has. In Chapter 2, we talk about price. The price of a pound of Roastery's coffee beans further illustrates the story that the product itself can tell. Quality is above everything else. As Seth Godin puts it, the reason consumers buy stuff they want is because of the way it makes them feel. Since the Roastery makes their unique sourcing and roasting process known, even though the consumer is paying more for the Roastery beans than they would from the leading coffee competitor, the quality of the Roastery coffee and the feel-good feeling that comes from buying the fair trade product outweighs the competition.
Next, let's move on to Chapter 3, which is place. Another important factor of the Roastery story is its distribution. Their use of vertical integration, or in other words, getting rid of the middleman, has elevated the Roastery coffee beyond their competition. Vertical integration allows for closer quality control, which the Roastery then uses to make sure their marketing story is true in all of its parts. In his book, Godin talks about how a great story makes a promise. Through using vertical integration, the Roastery is able to promise their customers that their quality will always be just as good as their last cup. From a consumer's point of view, Roastery coffee can be found outside of Roastery-branded coffee shops and even outside of Kansas City. In the Kansas City metro area, grocery stores are allowed to sell packages of the locally roasted beans so customers can enjoy Roastery coffee in their homes. In the regional area, coffee shops can purchase Roastery beans to brew their coffee. For example, Holy Grounds on campus sells Roastery coffee beans. Outside the regional area, loyal customers can still access Roastery coffee through online ordering. Their website states that coffee that is ordered in the same day can be air roasted and shipped later that day. All of these distribution strategies further prove that the Roastery will always put the customer first. Next, let's talk about Chapter 4, which is promotion. The Roastery's numerous promotion strategies help tell their story by showing what it means to be an ethical company. For example, this month of November, they're promoting No Waste November and offering a 20% discount on all beverages if the customer brings in a reusable cup. This fits into the Roastery's brand image because they're focusing on their environmental impact and show a desire for ethical treatment of both farmers and farmland by reducing the use of single-use plastic. The Roastery is, as Godin states, using frames to match the worldview of the segment that they're trying to reach. In other words, they're emphasizing ethical values through their promotions to recognize and reach their market's worldviews. Let's talk about their logo. The Roastery brand image of a DC-3 aircraft symbolizes many important things for the brands. This logo creates brand equity within the minds of loyal customers because there aren't many local brands that promote ethical ethical trade, sustainability, and quality in the way that the roastery has. We have come to find that the roastery takes pride in promoting that they're an ethical company. As Godin says, people who buy for business are people first. They buy things that get them promoted, and they buy things that make them feel safe and secure, or that give them a sense of belonging. Belonging is a key word here. When customers see that little airplane on their coffee cup, they feel like a sense of belonging to Kansas City. Even if they live somewhere else or order from online, the little plane reminds them of home, from where they belong. Every time a customer enters a roastery-affiliated coffee shop or opens a new bag of beans, the story of the roastery is retold. One of the most important points in Godin's book is when he says, if you want to grow, make something worth talking about. Not the hype, not the ads, but the thing. If your idea is good, it'll spread. That's exactly what the roastery does and continues to do every day with their product, price, place, and